Ripley's got the power loader!
Get away from her, you bitch!
Last video, we looked at kids' cartoons from the 80s and early 90s that were adapted from R-rated films. RoboCop, Rambo, Conan the Barbarian, Police Academy, Toxic Avenger. You guys seem to really enjoy that bizarre trip down memory lane into days gone by that saw Saturday morning TV airwaves saturated with lighthearted introductions to much more mature content. Sure, if you grew up in that time like I did, maybe your innocence was destroyed, but you had a great time. Nowadays, kids' cartoons are made for, kids. And as I said in that previous video, the main reason for cartoons that existed like that was so that they could sell action figures. That's where the real money was for licensed products. So today, we're going to follow it up by taking a look at some of the actual action figures associated with those R-rated movies.
Your clothes, give them to me.
Welcome to Actual Fandom. I hope you'll subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoy what I talk about in this video. Leave a comment with the toys that you had or that you wish you had that depicted characters from R-rated films. If you guys really let me know that this video is something you want to see even more of, I can do another one on the video games that were adapted from R-rated films.
Now I'm playing with power!
Great graphics.
I'm back. Got to find John Connor.
But evil T-1000 gets to him first.
Holy shit.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day was a blockbuster success, despite the fact that it was rated R. But even though the movie was made for people over 18 years old initially, a whole bunch of kids got into it. I mean, to me personally, that was my favorite movie from the time it came out until basically The Matrix. Kids went nuts for Schwarzenegger's Terminator.
The ultimate Terminator. He looks mean. He sounds mean.
Fuck you, asshole.
Especially in a movie where you take a character like John Connor, a little kid,
Did you call moi a dipshit?
and then buddy him up with the Terminator and make the Terminator a good guy.
The ultimate Terminator for the ultimate Terminator adventure.
That was wish fulfillment for little kids like myself, right? Who didn't want their own Terminator? There was a whole heap of toys made from Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Techno Punch Terminator.
Talking Arnie dolls,
Chill out, dickwad.
a whole bunch of different action figures with different special features,
You're next, John Connor.
Oh shit!
including the BioFlesh Regenerator,
Battle damage.
Add flesh compound.
which allowed kids to pull the flesh off of the toy to where you could see the Terminator skeleton underneath.
Wish I could have met my real dad.
Then there was A Nightmare on Elm Street, believe it or not. Even though Freddy Krueger canonically was a serial killer who murdered children before he was killed and then became, a dream-stalking demon, kids loved the dude. I know I did.
It's a boy!
And even though none of the Freddy films were ever rated anything other than rated R, that didn't stop the shelves from being stocked with all sorts of Freddy merchandise for kids.
We'll see, bitch.
There was talking Freddy dolls,
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Freddy Krueger yo-yos, and you could even get little, plastic Freddy gloves. For something that wasn't made for kids, kids love Freddy.
Bon appetit, bitch!
In the future, you have to defrost a cop to put a criminal on ice.
Let's go blow this guy.
Now, if you're like me and you like sophisticated science fiction satire, you probably love the movie Demolition Man.
Sylvester Stallone is John Spartan, the Demolition Man.
You shit
It had a lot of violence and swearing, and it was definitely not made for kids. But guess what? It had toys.
The toughest cop in the 21st century.
This is a rat burger.
It was standard action figure fare, main characters John Spartan and Simon Phoenix.
Wesley Snipes is cold-blooded Simon Phoenix.
Heads up!
An array of silly battle armor and bearing names such as Battle Baton Spartan, Blast Attack Phoenix.
But Demolition Man always keeps his cool.
Why didn't you just shove a leash up my ass?
I don't know if parents really complained about these toys existing back in the day, but I know I have a complaint that they never released the 3 Seashells toys.
Are all fluid transfer activities like this?
The future isn't big enough for the both of them.
You really licked his ass.
Demolition Man, figures of Bola Jet, sold separately, new from Mattel.
Fucking A.
Starship Troopers is a satirical takedown of warmongering fascist culture,
This year we explored the failure of democracy.
disguised as a big dumb action movie. Kids at the time probably didn't get the commentary that Paul Verhoeven was going for any more than they got his movie RoboCop a decade before.
I'd buy that for $1.
Starship Troopers spawned a veritable avalanche of tie-in toys ranging from action figures with names like Firestorm Johnny Rico and Bug Thrasher Carmen Ibanez to remote-controlled versions of the film's villainous bugs. Now, Starship Troopers had a whole lot of nudity, a whole lot of violence, and plenty of adult language. Which is why it's pretty crazy that this got a toy line in the first place, but it was another time.
Force, my friends, is violence, the supreme authority from which all other authority is derived.
Tales from the Crypt.
The long-running HBO anthology series, Tales from the Crypt, was filled with dark comedy.
Well, kiddies, I'm afraid our designer hanger offer has expired.
Horror. Nudity. All the good stuff. The Crypt Keeper, despite having a pretty horrific design, was also appealing to kids, myself included. He was full of puns.
I've always wanted a swing set. Just a little something for when I'm hanging out watching the news.
He was always laughing. And I mean, Tales from the Crypt was originally a comic book that was marketed to kids in the first place. If you want to know more about that and how it nearly killed the comic book industry, see this video. But kids went wild for Crypt Keeper, leading to a kids cartoon and a whole bunch of toys.
You must meet Crypt Keeper! Sickening sex and vomitous violence. Parental guidance is advised.
Including talking dolls and action figures.
Guide your parents out of the room so we can have some fun!
Now that I think about it, I want to see if I can find any Crypt Keeper action figures. I never had one, and now I want one.
Just another satisfied ghostomer.
Like we discussed in the previous video about cartoons based on R-rated movies, Conan the Barbarian was a hit with kids. Making family-friendly cartoons out of Robert E. Howard's famously violent Barbarian, it's a pretty weird choice, but Arnold was a big hit in that period, and And as I mentioned in that previous video, the Conan the Barbarian toys were basically just knockoff He-Man toys. And that's probably a big reason why both the cartoon and the toys were canceled pretty quickly. They just weren't very popular. This next batch of toys to come out of an R-rated franchise was one of my favorites.
Alien! Somebody said alien. She thought they said illegal alien and signed up.
The Aliens franchise is not for kids, period. Like, there's nothing for kids in it. However, the xenomorph design is just too cool to ignore. Even a little kid can look at the xenomorph and realize how badass that thing is. Thanks to Stan Winston, it's just a perfectly designed creature. Every entry in this sci-fi horror franchise received a toy line.
We're the Space Marines, Drake!
Ripley. I don't know which species is worse. You don't see them fucking each other over for a goddamn percentage.
Bone.
You secure that shit, Hudson.
Bishop. And I'm Hicks.
He's Hicks.
It's the Flying Queen alien and her gruesome gorillas. Send in the ultimate Space Marine, Atax.
Who?
In his big bad bug suit.
And how can we mention Aliens without mentioning Predator? A series about an intergalactic hunter who stalks men through the exotic jungle or the urban jungle, depending on which film you're talking about, that harvests their skulls and their spines, placing them as trophies on its mantle. Some genius toy executive said, yeah, we gotta make some toys of that.
The dreaded beast versus the savage hunter. Aliens versus Predator. This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus.
Toymaker Kenner cranked out a whole bunch of Predator action figures. A lot of them were the same mold over and over again, just repainted to a different color so they could call it like Lava Planet Predator or whatever.
With whipping dreadlocks.
You're one ugly motherfucker.
But these toys sold very, very well.
And the ferocious mother alien in her monstrous hive traps Spike-Tail, then covers him in ooze.
Jeez, you got a big pussy.
Aliens versus Predator. Queen Hive playset comes with mother alien figure and ooze. Other figures sold separately.
Jeez, you got a big pussy.
In that last video, we talked about Rambo and the Force of Freedom.
Sorry, fellas.
that had an accompanying toy line.
Trap it! Hold him off with your machine gun!
Which let kids bring home the plastic versions of their favorite cartoon.
If you want an apple, ask for it.
Rambo.
It's over, Johnny. It's over! Nothing is over! Nothing!
Rambo.
Rambo started off as a cautionary tale against PTSD and the traumas of war.
Rambo.
Eventually, he was turned into a hyper-masculine right-wing fever dream.
Rambo.
And then a kid's cartoon and toys. It's a weird progression.
Look out!
You asked me, I didn't ask you! And I did what I had to do to win!
Figures and helicopters sold separately.
It wasn't my war!
Arnold Schwarzenegger gets another entry on this list with Commando. Yeah, that's right. You may not have realized it. I certainly didn't. But the film Commando, which was a hard R action movie with like a death toll in the, I don't know, hundreds.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
That got a toy line release too. The action figures were basically just G.I. Joe ripoffs, but there were also a selection of toy weapons like plastic guns and a functioning toy grenade stuffed with popping caps, so you could really scare the fuck out of your dog or your parents or whoever. Just like Arnie would want.
Fuck you.
Toxic Avenger was a cult movie rated hard R with some gratuitous violence.
You fat slob, let's see if you have any guts.
Gore, nudity, and just really greasy vibes to it all around.
No dicky and no washy.
It's awesome. You should check it out. And of course, some coked out executive saw this and said, toys. Troma Studios' famous disgusting antihero was given the kiddie treatment in 1991 with a cartoon called Toxic Crusaders, as mentioned in the previous video. The content was sanitized, Toxie was made less violent, and it was all framed in a Captain Planet type environmentalist message.
Dr. Killamoff and his goons are trying to pollute the earth over my green body. Would you take a look at that fucking guy?
He's always got that shit-eating grin on his face.
Hey, what are you, retarded?
Huh? Retarded?
Figures and vehicles each sold separately from Playmates.
Toxic Crusaders.
Thanks to that environmentalist push in the early 90s, we all saved the planet, and now we don't have to worry about any kind of climate change or greenhouse gases or ozone layer problems. Nothing. We're in the clear.
Would you take a look at that fucking guy?
When crime strikes, nothing can stop RoboCop.
Bitches leave.
One of the coolest action figure lines was RoboCop.
RoboCop and evil ED-260 face off with rapid repeat cap firing.
Now, even though the original movie was a tongue-in-cheek social satire of corrupt businesses, corporate culture, consumerism, and the dangers of the police state, kids just wanted to play with RoboCop, which led to two different cartoons.
Hit it, Jake!
A whole bunch of toys.
RoboCop, hands up!
And worst of all, the third film, which was PG-13.
I don't have time for this bullshit.
That should hold you. Calling the Robo Jailer. Run away. You won't catch us.
But the Robo Jailer smashes through their hideout.
You'll be hiding out in prison now.
Figures and vehicles sold separately.
Your company built the fucking thing.
RoboCop and the Ultra Police.
RoboCop toys were a hit. Different figures you could buy had all kinds of wacky armor, ridiculous vehicles, weapons. I know I had a bunch of them. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you'll subscribe. If you want to support the channel, there's some stuff on screen and down in the description. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, and let me know if you want to see one more entry into this series about the video games based on R-rated films. And remember, be ambassadors, not gatekeepers. Peace.